and the greater Middle East were typically subtle, smart, and filled with ambiguities that turned out to be prescient. The world is a complex and dangerous place, and Kissinger's great strength as an analyst, and his weakness at fitting in with more ideological conservatives, is that he is not very good at oversimplification. In addition, he is instinctively averse to open and outright challenges to people in power. This is particularly true when it comes to conservative Republicans in power, because he knows that their distrust of his ideological fervor is what has kept him exiled from office. This relates to a core issue explored in this book, one that is, I think, even more valid today. I contend that Kissinger was one of the few realists, as opposed to idealists, to shape American diplomacy. In that approach, he was a master. He had a feel for balances of power, spheres of influence, and realpolitik relations. He brilliantly created a triangular structure involving the U.S., Russia, and China, and that architecture preserved the possibility of America's power and global influence after the debacle of Vietnam. On the other hand, he did not always have the same feel for the role that idealistic values, sentiments he would call them, play in allowing a democracy to operate openly and with sustained confidence at home and abroad. Nor did he fully appreciate, I argue, that the openness and messiness of America's democracy is what gives strength, not weakness, to its foreign policy. He was thus, under Nixon's dark tutelage, too fond of secrecy, and too much in need of it. Kissinger was not exactly thrilled by this argument or by this book when it first came out, even though he had given me many interviews. I think he was surprised that its critique came from the conservative side as much as from the liberal side. I also suspect, given the fact that he is not known for his thick skin, that he would probably be outraged if he reread his Nobel Peace Prize citation or his own memoirs on the grounds that they are not favorable enough. For a while after the book came out, he didn't speak to me. Then, after I had become the managing editor of Time, he was invited back to an anniversary party featuring all who had been on the cover. The phone rang, and his distinctive voice came on to say, "Well, Walter, even the 30 Years' War had to end at some point. I will forgive you." He did allow that his wife, Nancy, both loyal and smart, was partial to the 100 Years' War. Since then, we have worked together on various projects, including a Middle East program at the Aspen Institute. In our recent conversations, Kissinger has contended, persuasively, that he has always recognized the role of values in forging a sustainable foreign policy. For him, there is a balance that must be struck between a nation's interests and its ideals, and that balance is best struck unsentimentally. For a fuller expression of this argument, readers of this book should also read Kissinger's own works written subsequent to his time in office.